Have you ever clicked on a YouTube video, excited to watch something interesting? Maybe a story, a tutorial, or something entertaining. And right before it starts, an ad appears. You wait. Then another one appears. Sometimes even 2 ads back to back. And just when you think it's finally over, another interruption appears in the middle of the video. At that exact moment, something very simple happens. Your focus breaks. Your attention shifts. Your experience changes completely. And what was supposed to be smooth, simple, and enjoyable suddenly becomes frustrating. Now let's pause for a second. Because this is not just about ads. This is about something deeper. Something most people don't even realize is happening. Every interruption is affecting your attention. Every delay is breaking your focus. And every small pause is changing how you experience content. Now imagine a completely different world. A world where you click on a video, and it starts instantly. No ads, no waiting, no interruptions, no breaks in focus, just pure content from the first second to the last. That is not a fantasy. That is what YouTube Premium is designed to do. But recently, something important changed. YouTube officially increased the price of its premium subscription. And for the first time in years, millions of users saw a higher number on their monthly bill. At first glance, this sounds negative, like just another price increase. Another subscription becoming more expensive. But here's the real question. Is this actually about price? Or is it about value? Because sometimes, the cheapest option is not the best one. And sometimes, the most expensive option saves you something far more valuable than money. Your time, your focus, and your attention. So in this video, we are going to break everything down in detail. Not emotionally, not randomly, but logically. Step by step, we will understand what YouTube Premium actually is, why people use it, what changed in pricing, and most importantly, whether it is still worth it today. But before we talk about money, we need to understand the experience first. Because YouTube Premium is not just a subscription, it is a change in how you consume content. Pushpin understanding YouTube is a platform today. YouTube is no longer just a video platform. It has become something much bigger. It is where people learn new skills, watch educational content, follow daily news, explore new ideas, and spend hours every single day. For many people, YouTube is part of their daily routine. Morning, afternoon, night, it is always there. And because it is used so often, even small problems become big problems. One of those problems is interruptions. Because when you are watching something important, even a few seconds of interruption can break your thinking process. You lose focus, you lose connection with the content, and sometimes, you even forget what you were watching. This is where YouTube Premium enters the picture. It does not change what you watch. It changes how you experience it. Prohibited the core problem, interruptions. Let's go deeper into the main issue. Interruptions are not random, they are constant. They appear before videos, during videos, and sometimes multiple times in a single video. And while each interruption might seem small, the impact builds up over time. Think about this. If you watch just 3 videos per day, and each video has multiple interruptions, that becomes dozens of interruptions per week, and hundreds per month. Each one breaks your flow. Each one resets your attention. Each one slightly reduces your enjoyment. Now multiply that across a year. The impact becomes massive, not just in time, but in mental energy. This is why many users feel exhausted after long viewing sessions. Not because the content is bad, but because the experience is constantly interrupted. Brain-why focus matters more than you think. Focus is not just a nice to have. It is a limited resource. Every time your attention is broken, your brain needs time to refocus. This creates friction, even if it is small. Now imagine removing that friction completely. No interruptions, no waiting, no forced pauses, just continuous flow. That is where YouTube Premium creates value. It protects your attention, it protects your focus, and it protects your experience. Cell phone. What happens when you remove interruptions? When users first try YouTube Premium, something interesting happens. They don't notice what was added. They notice what disappeared. No waiting, no stopping, no breaks, just smooth playback. And this creates a psychological shift. Because suddenly, The platform feels faster, more responsive, more enjoyable, even though the content is the same. Only the experience changed. After understanding the core problem, which is interruptions, we now need to look at something deeper. How does YouTube Premium actually change your daily life? Because on the surface, it looks simple, no ads, but in reality, it changes behavior, it changes habits, and it changes how you interact with content every single day. Let's break that down step by step. Pushpin YouTube Premium is not just a feature. Most people misunderstand YouTube Premium. They think it is just a way to remove ads. But that is only the surface. The real impact is deeper. Because when you remove interruptions, you are not just changing the app. You are changing the entire viewing experience. You are changing how long you stay on videos, how you switch between content, and how focused you remain. This is where the real value starts. Cell phone daily usage changes completely. Let's take a normal user. Someone who watches YouTube every day. Maybe in the morning, during breaks, before sleep. Now let's compare two experiences. Crossmark without premium. Open video. Watch ad. Wait. Get interrupted again. Lose focus. Skip or leave video. Check mark with premium. Open video. Instant playback. Continuous viewing. No interruptions. Smooth experience. The difference looks small, but it is not small. It is repeated hundreds of times. And repetition creates impact. The brain adapts quickly. One of the most interesting effects of YouTube Premium is psychological. Your brain adapts very fast. After a short time using Premium, you start to expect instant playback, no interruptions, continuous flow, and when you go back to normal YouTube, you immediately notice the difference. It feels slower, heavier, less smooth. This is called expectation shift, and it is very powerful. Because once your brain upgrades, it does not want to downgrade. High voltage speed perception effect. Even though video quality is the same, content is the same, creators are the same, the experience feels faster. Why? Because there is no waiting, no stopping, no interruption delays. This creates something called perceived speed improvement. Your brain interprets less waiting equals faster system. So even if nothing technically changed, everything feels better. Bullseye YouTube becomes more efficient. With Premium, users start doing something important. They spend less time waiting, skipping, closing videos, reopening content, and more time watching, learning, following content fully. This increases efficiency, not because content changed, but because friction disappeared. Bar graph: the hidden time leak. Let's talk about something most people ignore. Time loss. Every interruption is small. 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 20 seconds. But it adds up. Imagine 10 videos per day, 2 to 3 interruptions per video, 10 seconds each. That becomes minutes per day wasted, hours per month, dozens of hours per year. Not because you are watching more, but because you are waiting more. YouTube Premium removes this completely. TV viewing flow state. There is a psychological concept called flow state. It means being fully focused on what you are doing. No distractions, no breaks, just deep focus. YouTube Premium helps maintain this state. Because nothing interrupts your attention, you stay inside the content longer. You understand better. You enjoy more. Anti-clockwise arrows: content consumption changes. Without Premium, users tend to skip videos, lose interest faster, switch content often. With Premium, users tend to watch full videos, stay longer, follow content more deeply. Why? Because friction is gone. And when friction disappears, consistency increases. Cell phone mobile experience improvement. Most YouTube users are on mobile. And mobile is where interruptions feel worst. Because small screen, short attention spans, frequent switching. Premium improves this significantly. Because now, no interruptions, smooth playback, background flexibility. The phone becomes more powerful as a content tool. Brain attention economy impact. We live in what is called attention economy. Platforms compete for your attention, but interruptions reduce quality of attention. YouTube Premium does something different. It protects attention instead of breaking it. And that changes how valuable your time feels. Light bulb subtle but powerful change. The biggest change is not visible. It is not a button, not a feature, not a setting. It is a feeling. The feeling of smoothness, control, continuity. And once you experience it, you notice how broken the normal experience feels. Rocket transition to value discussion. Now that we understand daily usage changes, focus improvement, time savings, experience upgrades, we need to move to the next big question. Is this worth the price? Because now we are not talking about features anymore. We are talking about value. Now we reach a very important point in this discussion. We have already understood how YouTube Premium changes the experience. We have seen how it removes interruptions, and how it improves focus and flow. But now we need to talk about something different. Something more practical. The price. Because at the end of the day, no matter how good a service is, people always ask one question. Is it worth the money? And that is exactly what we are going to break down now. Money bag the price increase. What actually happened? Recently, YouTube updated its premium pricing. For many users, this was noticeable. Not because the increase was massive, but because it was the first increase in a while. Here is what changed. Monthly subscription went slightly higher. Family plans increased more noticeably. Student plans also adjusted. Now on paper, this looks like a small adjustment. Just a few dollars difference. But psychologically, even small increases feel important. Because subscriptions are recurring, they repeat every month, and that makes people more sensitive to changes. Brain-why price changes feel bigger than they are. Let's understand something important. Humans do not evaluate cost logically most of the time. They evaluate it emotionally. So when a price increases, even slightly, it feels like this is becoming expensive, even if the difference is small. Because your brain focuses on repetition times time, not just the single payment. That is why subscription pricing is sensitive. Bar graph breaking down real value. Now let's remove emotion and analyze logically. What are you actually paying for? With YouTube Premium, you are paying for time saved, focus protection, smooth experience, no interruptions. Now let's assign real-world meaning to this. Stopwatch time equals the real currency. Let's assume you watch YouTube 1 to 2 hours per day. Now during that time, you normally experience interruptions, even small ones. 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 20 seconds. It doesn't feel like much. But over time, it adds up. Let's calculate logically. If you lose just 5 minutes per day due to interruptions, that becomes 35 minutes per week, 2+ hours per month, 20+ hours per year. That is almost a full day of time lost. Just waiting, not watching, waiting. Now compare that to the subscription cost. This is where the value becomes clearer. Balance scale cost versus experience trade-off. Now we ask a simple question. What is more valuable? A small monthly payment, or hours of recovered time? For casual users, the answer might not matter much. But for daily users, the answer becomes very different. Because the more you use YouTube, the more value Premium gives. Bullseye: who actually benefits most? YouTube Premium is not equal for everyone. Its value depends on usage intensity. Let's break it down. Small diamond: low usage users. Watch occasionally. Few videos per week. Minimal impact from ads. Right finger for them. Value is lower. Small diamond: medium usage users. Watch daily. 30 to 90 minutes per day. Regular interruptions. Right finger for them. Value is noticeable. Small diamond: high usage users. Watch multiple hours daily. Use YouTube as main content source. Strong interruption fatigue. Right finger for them. Value is extremely high. So the answer is simple. The more you use it, the more it pays off. Brain psychological value versus financial value. There are two types of value here. 1. Financial value. Monthly cost. Subscription expense. 2. Psychological value. Less frustration. Better focus. Smoother experience. Less cognitive load. And often, psychological value is more important. Because frustration is not priced, but it is felt. Cell phone: the smooth experience factor. One of the most underrated aspects is experience smoothness. Without Premium, Start right pointing arrow interruption right pointing arrow delay right pointing arrow continue right pointing arrow interruption again. With Premium, start right pointing arrow continuous flow right pointing arrow finish. This difference affects how your brain perceives content. Smooth experiences feel faster, easier, more enjoyable, even if the content is identical. Repeat button long-term behavior change. Over time, users adapt. This is important, because after using Premium, you become used to no interruptions. You expect instant playback, you prefer uninterrupted flow, and when you go back, the difference feels bigger. This creates strong retention, not because of ads, but because of habit. Bar graph: is the price increase justified? Now we answer the key question. Is the increase justified? From a logical perspective, yes, if you are a frequent user. Because infrastructure costs increase, streaming demand grows, platform improvements continue. But from a user perspective, it depends entirely on usage. If you use it heavily, value outweighs cost. If you use it rarely, cost outweighs value. Light bulb: the real decision factor. The real question is not, is it expensive? The real question is, how much do interruptions affect your experience? Because that is what you are paying to remove. Interruptions. Not content, not videos, not features, just interruptions. Rocket transition to final part. Now we are approaching the final stage. We already understand experience improvement, daily usage impact, value versus cost, psychological effects. In the next part, we will bring everything together and reach a final conclusion. Whether YouTube Premium is truly worth it today. At this point in the discussion, we already understand the system. We understand the experience. We understand the pricing. And we understand the value behind YouTube Premium. But now we need to go deeper. Not in theory, not in numbers, but in real experience. Because at the end of the day, people don't subscribe based on logic alone. They subscribe based on how something feels. So let's compare two worlds. Globe World 1, normal YouTube experience. Let's start with the default experience. The one most people use every day. You open YouTube, you choose a video, you click play, and immediately, something appears. An ad, sometimes short, sometimes long, sometimes unskippable. You wait, then the video starts. You start watching, you get into the content, you focus, and then suddenly, another interruption appears. Your attention breaks, you lose momentum, you try to refocus. The video continues, but your mind is slightly shifted now, not fully immersed anymore. This happens again, and again, and again. Over time, you stop noticing the interruptions individually. But your experience becomes fragmented. Not smooth, not continuous, just broken into small pieces. And even though the content is the same, the experience feels heavier, slower, less enjoyable. Globe World 2, YouTube Premium experience. Now let's switch worlds. Same video, same content, same device, same user, but different experience. You click play, instant start, no ads, no waiting, no interruption. The video begins immediately. You stay focused, you stay immersed. The content flows naturally. No breaks, no friction, no mental resets. You reach the end of the video without even thinking about interruptions. And something interesting happens here. You don't notice the feature. You notice the absence of problems. No delays, no stops, no distractions, just smooth viewing. Brain: the psychological difference. This is where the real difference appears. It is not about features. It is about mental load. Without Premium, your brain constantly processes interruptions. Start right pointing arrow, stop right pointing arrow, resume right pointing arrow, refocus right pointing arrow, repeat. With Premium, your brain stays in one continuous state. Start right pointing arrow, flow right pointing arrow, finish. This difference might look small, but psychologically it is massive. Because every interruption forces attention reset, cognitive switching, focus rebuilding, and that consumes energy. Cell phone: how usage behavior changes. Now let's talk about behavior. Because behavior is where the real transformation happens. Without Premium, users skip videos more often. Users lose interest faster. Users switch content frequently. Users feel more distracted. With Premium, users watch full videos. Users stay longer on content. Users switch less. Users focus more deeply. Why? Because friction is removed. And when friction disappears, consistency increases. High voltage, the speed illusion. Here is something interesting. YouTube Premium does not actually increase video speed, but it feels faster. Why? Because waiting is removed. No ads, no delays, no interruptions. And the brain interprets. Less waiting equals faster system. This is called perceived speed improvement. And it strongly affects satisfaction. Brain, why normal YouTube feels worse after Premium. This is a very important psychological effect. Once you use Premium, you adjust to a new baseline. That baseline is instant playback, no interruptions, smooth flow. So when you go back to normal YouTube, your brain reacts immediately. It feels slower, more frustrating, less efficient, even though nothing changed in the platform. Only your expectations changed. Anti-clockwise arrows, habit formation effect. Humans are habit-driven, and Premium creates a new habit. Uninterrupted consumption. Once this becomes normal, anything less feels incomplete. This is why users often stay subscribed. Not because they calculate value every month, but because they adapt. Bullseye real-life impact example. Let's imagine a simple scenario. A user watches tutorials, educational content, daily videos. Without Premium, they experience interruptions multiple times per session. They lose focus. They sometimes quit early. With Premium, they complete more videos. They understand content better. They stay engaged longer. The difference is not dramatic in one video, but massive over weeks and months. Bar graph, long-term experience accumulation. Now multiply everything. Daily usage, weekly usage, monthly usage, yearly usage. Small improvements become large differences. Not because one video changed, but because every video became smoother. This is cumulative experience design. And it is extremely powerful. Brain emotional versus logical satisfaction. There are two types of satisfaction. Logical, cost, features, pricing. Emotional, frustration level, smoothness, enjoyment, focus quality. And emotional satisfaction is what users remember. Not pricing tables, not numbers. Experience. Fire, transition toward final decision. Now we are very close to the final conclusion. We have seen two different user worlds, behavioral changes, psychological effects, long-term impact. Now only one question remains. Is it worth it? And that is exactly what we will answer in the final part. We are now at the final stage of this entire discussion. At this point, we have broken down everything. The experience, the interruptions, the psychological impact, the daily usage changes, the pricing update, and the value comparison. Now only one question remains. The question that every user eventually asks. Is YouTube Premium actually worth it? But to answer this properly, we cannot use a simple yes or no. Because the answer is not universal. It depends on one thing. Usage. Bullseye, the core truth about YouTube Premium. YouTube Premium is not a luxury subscription. It is not a status feature. It is not something you need for entertainment. It is a quality of experience upgrade. That is the most accurate definition. It does not give you new content. It removes friction from existing content. And that difference is very important. Because most subscriptions add features. But this one removes problems. Balance, scale, the final value equation. Let's simplify everything we learned into one equation. YouTube Premium value equals time saved plus focus preserved plus friction removed. Now compare that to monthly cost. This is the trade-off. And depending on your usage, the outcome changes completely. Bar graph, scenario 1, low usage user. If you only watch YouTube occasionally, a few videos per week, short viewing sessions, no heavy dependency, then the experience difference is small. Yes, Premium feels better. But the impact on your life is limited. In this case, right finger, the subscription is optional. Right finger, not necessary. Right finger, convenience only. Bar graph, scenario 2, medium usage user. Now let's increase usage. You watch daily videos, 30 to 90 minutes per day. Mix of entertainment and learning. Now things change. Interruptions become noticeable. Time loss becomes real. Frustration appears occasionally. In this case, Right finger premium becomes valuable. Right finger experience improves significantly. Right finger time savings are noticeable. Bar graph scenario 3, heavy usage user. Now the most important category. You use YouTube multiple hours daily as a primary content platform for learning, tutorials, information, constantly switching videos. Now the difference is massive. Without premium, constant interruptions, repeated focus loss, fragmented viewing experience. With premium, smooth continuous flow, high focus retention, efficient content consumption. In this case, right finger premium is extremely valuable. Right finger it directly improves daily life experience. Right finger it saves significant time and mental energy. Brain the real cost people don't see. Most people focus only on money. But there is another cost. Mental cost. Every interruption creates cognitive reset, attention break, focus rebuild. These seem small individually, but they accumulate. Over time, fatigue increases, attention decreases, satisfaction drops. YouTube Premium removes that layer completely. High voltage, the invisible upgrade. One of the most important things to understand. You do not notice what premium adds. You notice what disappears. No interruptions, no delays, no waiting, no friction, and that creates a silent improvement in experience quality. Repeat button. Why users rarely leave premium. Once users adapt to premium, something interesting happens. They don't leave, not because they are forced to stay, but because the downgrade feels uncomfortable. Normal YouTube feels slower, more annoying, less smooth. This creates what we call experience lock-in, not financial lock-in, but comfort lock-in. Cell phone modern content consumption reality. Today's users consume more content than ever. Daily, constantly, across different topics, learning, information, entertainment, tutorials, and in a high consumption environment. Even small friction matters, because repetition amplifies everything. Brain's psychological final insight. There is one final insight most people miss. YouTube Premium does not improve YouTube. It improves your attention environment. That means less distraction, more control, better focus continuity, and in a world full of interruptions, that is extremely valuable. Bullseye final honest verdict. Now let's answer clearly. Is YouTube Premium worth it after the price increase? The answer is right finger yes, if you are a frequent user. Right finger maybe, if you are a medium user. Right finger no, if you rarely use YouTube. There is no universal answer. Only usage-based value. Fire final thought. At the end of the day, you are not paying for videos. You are not paying for features. You are paying for something simpler. A smoother experience. A cleaner interface. A more focused environment. And the real question is not, is it expensive? The real question is, how much is your attention worth to you? Because once you remove interruptions, you don't just change YouTube. You change how you consume content. And that is the real upgrade. Clapperboard final closing, high retention ending. Next time you open YouTube, and a video is about to start, pay attention to the delay, to the interruption, to the small break in focus. Now imagine that moment never existing again. Because once you experience YouTube Premium, you don't think about ads anymore. You think about flow. And once you get used to flow, everything else feels like a downgrade.